Assalamu alaikum and peace. Man, this RevoltTV voting panel was all a damn sham. Not that I'm voting anyway. Not in such a system as this. Democracy is really an aristocracy, which has some of the worst forms of hypocrisy. But this was pathetic. It was a weak attempt to get black folk, particularly young black voters, back onto the plantation of voting. You had T.I., Killer Mike, Candace Owens, Katrina Pearson, Tamika Mallory, and some light-skinned dude with MK Ultra tats on his forearm. It was just garbage, man. This was like a whole 5-day summit in Atlanta, where they did a whole bunch of, plantation jubilee and talking about social media and music and technology, and then ended with, I guess this panel. They have another panel out in Cali sometime in the future. We'll see who's on that panel because they need some real speakers. But what really struck me was that the host opened up the panel asking what they think the most important thing affecting blacks in this coming election, was one of the most important things that are affecting the black people, or what they need to focus on, or whatever. Now, some of the people up there, they weren't even ADOS. They weren't foundational black Americans. But anyway, they go through all the people, and not a near one of them say anything about reparations. Not even Killer Mike. Mike, the only dude up there without a director's chair because he too damn obese. Don't sit up here and tell me you care about black people and you're extremely overweight. How you care about black people and you don't even care about your own black self? You want to convince me that I should care about what you say and that you care about me, but you don't care about yourself. Umar al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, said, "O people, beware of overeating because it makes you lazy in your prayer. It makes your body weak. It makes you unhealthy, and Allah dislikes the obese man. And you should be modest in your food because that is closer to righteousness and further from excess. It makes you stronger in worshiping Allah. And you will perish when your desires become more dear to you than Allah or your religion." A man came to Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, and he had a big belly. Umar asked him, "What is this?" The man replied, "It's a blessing from Allah." Umar said, "No, it's a punishment from Allah." Also, the Prophet ﷺ said, "A believer eats in one intestine. He's satisfied with a little bit of food. And a kafir, disbeliever, eats in 7 intestines. He eats just constantly." And that's in Bukhari. And then in the Quran, it says, "Those who disbelieve eat as the cattle eat." Now, even the devil can speak some truth here and there at times, even though he's a liar, like the Prophet said. So I'm not saying Killer Mike was incorrect in many of his statements, but because he's obese, I just can't take him too seriously, man. Up there sweating and stuff. He just trying to, eat well and fill his face. That's what I'm taking from it. Because, dude, you just did an interview with Tone Talks, Antonio Moore of the ADOS movement, and you sit up there and totally ignore that moment to call out reparations. Now, I'll give him credit. He shouted out Tone, but that's cool, I guess. But just to shout him out when you doing all this hood sermon preaching and cutting people off and being long-winded and breathing heavily, you should have really had more to say about Tone and the ADOS movement. But none of these people had anything to say about it. The only time it was brought up was at the very end when old dude Jay Morrison stood up and started talking I don't know what he was saying. He was talking nonsense, sounding like some damn Moore Science Temple bullcrap, talking about Black Vote Day. And I don't know what he was talking about, dog. And T.I. brought it up, but it was so quick in passing. T.I. brought up reparations, but it was so quick in passing. He didn't want to say it with his chest like all his other statements. He was talking strong to Candace. He was just like, yeah, and there's been a lot of conversation around reparations. He said it like he wasn't sure about saying it. then he goes into pure ignorance talking about how we can't get reparations because we don't have a nationality or a flag or constitution. Negro, say what? Yes, we do. We're American. We're American descendants of slaves. Our flag is the U.S. flag, and the Constitution is our Constitution. I also saw a clip of Jay Morrison on Instagram Live talking about how he met with Cobra, one of their leaders. Once I heard that, I was like, "Yup, that's all I need to hear." So he's just gonna play around about reparations and scam for some stuff. Is what it sounded like, and to all y'all who invested in Tulsa Real Estate Fund, have y'all gotten any return yet? That's all I'm asking. And look, I'm not trying to down my black people, man, but this is serious. We're already on code. We're already making movements and groovements. And you got people up in here throwing stuff out there that don't make no daggone sense. Talking about plebiscites. We don't have time. We don't have time for games, man. I don't have all the answers, but what I do know is I stay in tune with the voices of the streets, the voices of the real black media and the new black media, the voices of the grassroots movements here in America. And they all have been called, they all have called out Cobra and how they're not serious. Cobra been around for 20 years and ain't done nothing. They're just a front group. Even at that HR never getting a 40 acres, in a mule hearing, they was up there saying how, well, reparations don't have to be money at all. And then as well, they saying you don't have to be American to get this specific reparations from America. And he's going on, Jay Morrison going on, talking about going to the world court. Dog, you don't got to do all of that. And, Cobra talking about, oh, you just have to be of African descent. And they said some other suspect things too. So no wonder y'all been allegedly fighting for reparations for over 20 years and ain't make no ground. And this is who Jay Morrison is referring to in his Instagram Live. And no wonder they telling him, we got to hold a plebiscite, a public vote about who we are so that we can go to the world court. And he's talking about we going to vote on if we Nation of Islam, Hebrew, Israelite. That's not even a race, dog. What are you talking? That's not even a nationality. That's because they trying to include all of black people of African descent in the world who have come to America or just in general. So we have to decide on his nationality when you're trying to include everybody in the world. This is nothing more than waste time talk. We're talking about us as foundational black Americans in America specifically. If you got issues with wanting to get reparations, you got to take that up with your own country, dog. That's all it is waste time talk. Also, it's a well, immigrants have to get a piece of the pie or no one will type talk. That's why he wants this vote on the umbrella of our nationality when we already have a nationality. We are American descendants of slaves, as I said. We are American. So we are coming to the American government for what is due to us. If you want to go to your own country and get reparations, then by all means do so. This is why T.I. sat up there and said, well, you're putting the cart before the horse with reparations. So pretty much this whole panel is a waste of time because we're not even going to talk about what the new black media, what the voices of the streets, the voice of the actual grassroots movement is talking about. We're just going to do a lot of sermon preaching and filibustering, over talking each other about nothing. How in the hell are you, Killer Mike, going to jump in and say, we all arguing over which master is better, while you saying your master, Birdie, is better? Birdie is a so-called what? Come on, what is he? He's a so-called what? When have they and black people ever been friends? When have they ever had the best interests of black people at heart? Look at what's going on over in Palestine. So no wonder Bernie acting like he don't know what reparations is and all that bull crap, saying it's not feasible. He ain't trying to give niggas a damn thing. Yet you, his front Negro, his big mammy shaped Negro that he putting out there to pull black people to vote. I don't trust that. And again with T.I., Bull got caught with army guns and only did like a year or something in jail. Come on. Now he's sitting up there telling you that you putting the cart before the horse in regards to reparations. Of course he's saying that. Ain't none of them people say black people should withhold their vote as a strategy. Then why even invite Candace? You wanted to have a balanced discussion. Then if you're gonna have Trump, if you're gonna have a Trump jockstrap holder, well, at least have a damn foundational black American up there, not some self-hating chick who don't even want to identify as black, but then want to pretend she does when she's on a panel full of Negroes in front of Negroes. Yes, Candace, the breakdown of the family is horrible. This is true. But the way you remixing it to say, see, it was the Democrats who did that, and since they did that, come on over here to the Republicans and vote for Trump. No, we're not falling for that con game. And then recently, when she was at a hearing at the House where they were having a hearing on white supremacy, I'm like, come on now, do we even need to have a hearing for white supremacy? We know it exists. And the Republicans invited their Negroes who use her time to say, she used her time to say, white supremacy isn't actually an issue. In fact, it wouldn't even rank in her top 100 issues. And the real issue is black on black crime. What about black on black crime? Oh my God! Come on, Candy. The Department of Homeland Security just came out and said that white supremacist terrorists are a major threat in America right now. While you're trying to pass it off, you've been proven wrong. You're trying to pass off white supremacy, but you've been proven wrong. This is why she shouldn't have even been invited on the show. You don't have the best interests of our people at heart, and you're running interference for the dominant society. Like I said, most of them aren't really in tune with the new black media. And I just really hate debating or discussing with black folk about black issues, and they're not in tune themselves. They don't know who Tariq is. They don't know who Jason Black is. They don't know who Professor Black Truth, Yvette Carnell, Antonio Moore, Dr. Claude Anderson, Neely Fuller, Francis Cress Welsing. They don't know nobody, but they sitting here trying to tell you what T.I. said. All they know are celebrities who are parroting lame talking points of get on the plantation and vote. Your ear isn't to the streets, yet you trying to sit up here and tell another black person they don't know what they talking about, or they're just haters. We the only people who have celebrities who are slaves to corporations being our leaders. That's done. The days of the Muhammad Alis are over. They want to bring confusion. They say, hey, watch the Birdie. And speaking of celebrities, another show on RevoltTV, The Breakfast Schlubs, had Malik Gogurt, whatever his name is, on there with 3 other people, one gay dude, and the 2 others were trans women. Basically, he tiptoeing out the closet and saying he likes trans men while still claiming straight. Okay, this is all in one regard. In one regard, this is all about rape. This proof, again, like I've been saying, this is proof again of the truth of the Quran. Allah tells us in the Quran the story of the Prophet Lut and how these men were obsessed with going into other men, that they would rape new guests that came to the town. And this is what we see now. They want to rape us. They want to force us to be open to having sex with them. The one trans man on there, when they were asked about how a lot of these trans who are, get killed or injured, they be deceiving the guys, and then the guys find out and they beat them up or kill them. Go back and listen. She basically says, that's not an excuse to kill someone. Okay, you're right. But she never says anything about deceiving someone. She says, well, I don't have to deceive someone to get their number. But she doesn't say being trans isn't an excuse to deceive someone. She even hints at during the interview that a trans person may not want to tell the guy right away they are trans. So when you going to tell them? This is something someone should know off top. That's a form of rape, really. And so what did the people of Lut do when those 2, handsome guests came to town, which were really angels bringing Allah's punishment? They tried to break Lut's house down and force themselves in and rape his guests. This shows you that they want to enter into your homes. They want to dominate. You know, the gay dude on there was talking about how bathrooms in your homes are really trans bathrooms because everyone uses them, and then tries to use that to say all bathrooms in public should be open to everyone. So a grown man should be able to go into the same bathroom as a little girl. And then he said, yeah, my mom says she doesn't trust that because that can lead to sexual attacks. And he was basically telling his mom, oh, mom, that won't happen because usually sexual abuse is from someone they know. So now they want to take over everywhere. And I was listening to a podcast called the Mad Mamluks. It's an alright podcast. And one of the brothers on there, Sheikh Rios, he was talking about the LGBT movement, and he was saying how it will eventually die down. That's something I don't agree with. I don't agree with that because the only way it will die down is when everybody accepts it, in the sense of, yeah, I'll have sex with the same sex. I'm open to it. Yeah, teach my children about that. Yeah, have open bathrooms. When they finally take over, that's when it will die down. Until then, it won't. And the story of Lut shows you that. Even when those handsome guests that were really angels finally revealed themselves to the people of Lut that they were angels, and they blinded their eyes, them people were so overcome with lust that even that didn't stop them, and they were still trying to get into Lut's home and rape the guest. And you know, the other way they're doing this is it's about confusion, really. Like, you got this political panel with celebrities still trying to get folks to vote. And, you know, they all just giving sermons and don't know what they talking about, and not even bringing up reparations. Then you have on RevoltTV a whole interview with these other folks, and they telling people, you know, you need to open up, and blaming, you know, you really need to open up, bust it open, and blaming black men for the violence against LGBT, even though Ed Buckbreaker just got caught with a third body in his home. This time the dude didn't die though, but you know, he OD'd. And they're coming at the black community for not wanting homosexuality to be promoted, and telling us, hey, you know, women aren't really women and men aren't really men. You're whatever you want to be. This stuff is all about confusion. Watch the Birdie. All about distraction. They trying to open up all these fronts against us so we won't stay on code about these checks. They want us all arguing about cheeks so we don't be focusing on these checks. Nah, we can't do that. And even with the Muslims, they trying to confuse us. You got podcasts out here sending subs saying people are racist for calling Zaytuna Zaycuna. How? That's that reverse racism bull crap. Me saying what's up, my nigga, to my black friend isn't me being racist. If I see my black homie bucking his eyes for some butter biscuits from the dominant society, I'ma let him know, hey bro, you kinda cooning. That's not being racist. That's me letting him know he's off code. So if someone in the Muslim community, or some in the Muslim community, has called out Zaytuna on their white supremacist talking point, especially Hamza, and then they call out, you know, his black colleagues actually backing him up and using the same white supremacist talking points, yes, dog, yes, bro, you are cooning. So the nickname is fitting. We're not going to be shamed into being silent about your anti-black rhetoric. You're trying to confuse us by insinuating or even outright telling us that white supremacy doesn't exist, when, like I just said, the Department of Homeland Security has already told us it is a major threat in this country. So the everyday black Muslim who sees this racism then listens to you, they will be confused. Islam is not here for confusion. Islam is here to fling truth at falsehood and to destroy falsehood. The Quran is called Al-Furqan, the criterion, that which distinguishes right from wrong. You can't sit up here and tell me to my face that you are a scholar and you have all this knowledge, yet you're a black man in America denying white supremacy, where your knowledge is not benefiting you. When you make people confused like this within the deen, some will leave it, or others, They will just become house Muslims and Imam Toms themselves, backing up a white supremacist system that will eventually slaughter them. I don't know why people are so foolish. What does Allah say in the Quran? They will never love you until you follow their religion or way of life. He says that in Surah 2, verse 120. And the reason you're bending to them, the reason you're taking on their talking points, is because you're scared. You're scary. You're a kitten. It's because you want protection from them, not because it's true, not because what you're saying is true. You want them to see, oh, hey, these are some good house Muslims. We won't harm them, you fools. Allah tells you what will happen in the remaining parts of Surah 2, verse 120. Allah goes on to say, he says, say, indeed, the guidance of Allah is the only guidance. If you were to follow their desires after what has come to you of knowledge, you would have against Allah no protector or helper. Allah is the helper and protector. You seeking protection from them when they're just going to turn on you. What else does Allah say in Surah 60, verse 2? If they gain dominance over you, they would be to you as enemies and extend against you their hands and their tongues with evil, and they wish you would disbelieve. So stop with the shenanigans, man. You are the ones who love them, and they love you not. And also, the main reason also y'all pushing this stuff too is because you have a lot of immigrant Muslims who have sadly been indoctrinated or willingly let themselves into the mindset of white supremacy so they can come here, they come here with an anti-black bias already. They already got a shuck and jive for Zaddy to get over here and prove they safe by distancing themselves from black ADOS and by being anti-black. So when you're saying what they're doing, of course they're going to gravitate to you and they're going to give you money. And that's what it's about too. At the end of the day, it's about that money. But, I'm done with that for now. But moving on to other stuff, man. I know y'all saw Justin Trudeau, however you pronounce his last name, of Canada fame, out here getting caught up with blackface 3 times. One of them, they tried to soften the blow and say it was brown face because he was supposed to be imitating an Arab. Whatever. It's still blackface, man. So pretty much he's been exposed as a white supremacist. And this the dude that y'all said was so inclusive. He was at pride parades. He was in the masajid with Muslims during Ramadan and on the Eid and wishing them Eid Mubarak. Aww. Y'all be so quick to accept Zaddy. Ain't nothing wrong with white folk, long as they ain't white supremacists. But I'm always shaky when it comes to politicians, man. They real sketchy and I don't really trust them. But what's interesting is he comes out and apologizes, crocodile white tears. Maybe he's really sorry. Allahu alam. Allah knows best. It's just crazy it kept happening and there was no apology till it got exposed. But anyway, so after he does that, he hits you with the watch the Birdie too. And now, since it's time for them re-election soon, he announced that if he's re-elected, his government will ban military-style rifles in Canada. Because we got to take those guns away. See, he's being exposed as a suspected white supremacist. And the problem is white supremacy, as the DHS has already told us. So the problem isn't guns. The problem is guns in the hands of white supremacists. So why are you trying to ban powerful guns? What's going on, bruh? And even here in North America, you got politicians in their campaign run talking about banning assault weapons and buying back weapons. This is scary, man. No one is talking about the real problem. Like I said, white supremacy. I know hella black people with choppers, and ain't none of them trying to shoot up masses of people. They got them for protection if stuff get real serious out there in the world, and to just have fun with them at the gun range. So what's happening is no one wants to address white supremacy as usual. What they want to do is take guns. This is dangerous. In my opinion, they taking guns because They're setting us up for their major oppression of American citizens, starting with us, black people. And you got a nation of obese mofos, and now it's time to lead them to slaughter and make it easier to slaughter and harder to self-protect. So they militarizing police. I seen a daggone armored police truck today. It was crazy. And they taking all, they trying to take all the powerful guns away from you. Put two and two together, people. Then another thing I'm seeing is that corporations aren't waiting for laws to be passed. Remember last MABIA broadcast, I was talking about how Walmart and Kroger were asking customers not to open carry. I was saying how this basically is going to get bigger and more corporations would do it, and they would do more. So now you got CVS and Walgreens who have joined in that type of stuff as well. The Colt gun company just said they're not making ARs anymore for sale, even though their ARs were trash from what I've been hearing. But and now stores are talking about not selling certain types of weapons either, or not a lot of ammunition. It's getting wild out here, because what they're doing is falling into line with what the powers that be want, which is taking powerful weapons out of people's hands. And they are doing it this way to make it look benevolent. They say we are the peacemakers, but really they're the mischief makers, but they know it not. So it's not really benevolent. See, since the government can't just outright take guns because you got the Second Amendment, so they can't outright take guns from the people, they go to the corporations and have them stop manufacturing certain guns, stop selling so much ammo or certain weapons. So that way they could say, see, it's not us, it's y'all who don't want guns. Again, this is gonna happen more and more, and I think it will come to a point where they will eventually pass a law under the basis of, well, y'all already putting it in practice now anyway, so we might as well pass it. People have to start speaking out against that, because this isn't a good precedent. So like I said, the problem isn't weapons. The problem is white supremacists with weapons. But that's been it for this episode of Muslim and Black in America, MABIA. Make sure y'all keep tuning in. I'll be posting more on my page. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Hit that like button, hit the notification button. If you want to donate, hit the Cash App as well. But it's all good. And until next time, this is Bilal Abdullah signing out. Peace and assalamu alaikum.